Damage in Rolling Fork. They are getting a first-hand, up-close look at the damage that rocked that small Delta community in Sharkey County. You can see the president there with what looks like the mayor of Rolling Fork and the police chief of Rolling Fork. It looks like they are also greeting folks that live in that area and again touring the damage in that area. The president and the first lady arrived at Jackson Air National Guard earlier this morning. He met with Rolling Fork Mayor Eldridge Walker just outside South Delta Elementary School earlier today. He was briefed by federal, local, and state officials on the ongoing tornado response and efforts. Now that they're in Rolling Fork, they're going to get another operational briefing, and the president and first lady will also meet with community leaders and survivors that are impacted by the storms and then thank first responders in Rolling Fork. Now that meeting is expected to be followed by President Biden delivering remarks to reaffirm his commitment to supporting the people of Mississippi as they recover and rebuild from the devastating storms. Of course, we're watching this now. The president on the ground in Rolling Fork. He has been greeting folks who have been dealing with over this last week and a half or so the damage that's been left behind by those tornadoes from last week, talking to folks one-on-one along with First Lady Jill Biden. The couple touring Rolling Fork, they flew from Jackson earlier on Marine One, and then they got a view of the devastation in the area, looking over the acres of farmland and all of those buildings that were destructed by the storm, the homes, the toppled trees, and all the debris that's in that area. Also, they are joined by Governor Tate Reeves. You may see in the video the mayor of Rolling Fork is there. Looks like the police chief of Rolling Fork now talking to the president. Also along with them are Governor Tate Reeves and First Lady Ely Reeves. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith, Representative Benny Thompson is there, and they're also federal partners, the administrator of FEMA, and also Deanne Criswell. She is there too. Our own Scott Simmons is on the ground in Rolling Fork. Let's check in with him and see what his vantage point is. Scott?
Yeah, we're a few blocks away from that on-the-ground site over here where President Biden is taking a look at the grounds, talking to some people, having been briefed with the FEMA coordinator here, the administrator, who's now in tow over in that area. And one of the, of course, the big revelations, the president announcing that they will be covering the 100% of all the costs for debris removal, overtime, things like that in this storm-torn area. And that is an enormous financial undertaking, certainly more than any state or local government might muster because of the sheer magnitude of all the debris that's been left by here. The cost of the state's emergency measures for the next 30 days will mean the state will be able to contract with agencies to remove things like debris and operating shelters and paying overtime for first responders. They have been working around the clock since Friday in the response to this storm. FEMA will be opening disaster recovery centers in storm-ravaged counties in this area, helping residents access the federal resources that are available. And we spent a good bit of time talking about that. FEMA and SBA on the ground with mobile operation centers taking applications for aid. FEMA in the process of getting people funding for things like overnight stays at a hotel. The SBA, the Small Business Administration, offering low interest loans to those people who need that bridge gap lending to get them from insurance and repairs to just where they are now and covering the bare essentials of getting back into their homes and lives. Those loans can be as low sometimes as 2% over 30 years. A big financial help for people who need that money now and in the days, weeks, and months going forward to recover from the storm. So for responders here, it means that they can bring in more contractors to remove the debris. And as you look down these areas on a little further down the street, you notice all the treetops basically have no leaves on them. Very few have major branches, and all that debris now has been pushed to the street corners here in the Rolling Fork community. They still need to be removed and pulled away, and that's going to take transport after transport of getting that out to the sites away from here. As contracting crews come in the process of rebuilding roofs and walls and homes that were literally shoved violently off their foundations. The president, the FEMA administrator, the governor on site, not far from where we're standing right now, talking to residents in this area about how the federal government, the state government, and local authorities can expect more federal help in this disaster recovery. Troy, back to you.
And it's important to note that the federal government is going to be an integral part of this situation. The president earlier saying that the government is not leaving until the area is back on its feet, and it will take FEMA and a lot of those federal partners to help with state and local partners to get that done. Again, the president is meeting with folks on the ground in Rolling Fork, getting a firsthand look at the damage from these storms that we've seen in that area of the Delta.